All right, if you ever wanted to learn how to create a single page application the most effective, fastest, and the easiest way, this is the video in which I will share with you everything you need to know to create a powerful, amazing single page application. So let's get this party started right now. Hey guys, welcome to Code with Mark, where I share helpful videos to help you become a professional web developer a lot faster. If you are interested in learning how to become a professional web developer a lot faster and learn technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, MongoDB, MySQL, and others that are going to help you create amazing, awesome web development app, do consider subscribing to the channel. All right, so welcome. So I'm going to share with you two different ways you can create your single page application. And one way is pretty straightforward, which would be just having everything loaded onto your one page, and that's it. And there's another way, which is a framework, which I can teach you, which you can easily customize it. So before we can jump into all of that, let me show you what we are going to be working on. So this is a single page application. So if I click on About, you get this section, Service, Contact, and then Service. And then if I go over here, this one is a little more involved, but still gives you the same look and feel. But the thing that I want to show you is if I look at the source code of this particular application and look at it, and you will see there is everything nice and pretty formatted and all that stuff. And there are 215 lines of code in here. However, if I go over here and look at the source code, there's only 6 lines of code that actually shows up on your source code. So how can we have same identical information, but the source code lines are a lot smaller? And that is called minification, which I will show you, which I could download the course from the link below, which will literally make your life a lot easier. So let's take a look at the first version, which is just one page and everything else. So I'm using my VS Code. Well, you can use any text editor that you have. I prefer VS Code. I absolutely love it nowadays. So let me bring back here. This is a single page. So literally there's just one page in here. I'll bring it in here, and then we can walk through it step by step. So this block of code, basically, it includes 3 libraries, which is your Bootstrap and then jQuery. Nothing really special here. And then we are building a navigation menu here, which if I put it side by side here, so let's move this little bad boy here and this over here, and maybe a little bigger. So here we go, maybe a little bit bigger. So there we go. So this is the menu. This is the section that we are building in here. You guys can literally just download this particular code. It's like the really simple basic single page application. There's a lot more complicated things. If you are interested in learning how you can build more complicated single page application, which will allow you to do the authentication and go do routes and database connections and all that stuff, just leave it in the comment and I will consider creating it for you. That will help you out. All right, so this will just give you the navigation menu, like I said, this right here. And then if we scroll down, you will notice there's a div container, which is this right here, this little box. And in here, there is this container that goes, this is whatever the page that is. If I go to About, it's going to go to About, Contact, Services, Home. So this is basically your header of that page, and then the content, whatever that goes in here. And this is literally what I'm doing here. So this is your header, which is a screen name, and then the screen data is wherever this particular information changes. So if we go to About, it's going to have About on the screen name and the content of that particular thing. So let's take a look at each one of those menus. So we have, let's see, one, home, about, service, and service, contact, and services. We have 4 menus. So let's take a look at each one of them. And each one of those goes in here. So we have home. Actually, this one is service. So let me just change that real quick. And this will all make sense very quickly for you, trust me. So this particular part of the div only has your div content, which is your services, which is the top. If I bring it up here and then go over here, so this word services, and then the small case word services, then we have a picture, and then completely profile navigation thing text box in here. So this is your services content, and then this is your home content. Once again, you can literally copy and paste this from the link below. And then we are going to go over to about section, which has this particular URL and some H1, H2, P tag, and strong, and all that good stuff. So nothing really complicated. So don't be like, oh my God, how did you build this up? Is really, really simple to do. And then we have contact page, which will give you this simple, your name, email, subject line, message, and contact, and all that stuff. And also, speaking of contact, if you want me to create a video that will help you to send a email from your server to your email, whether it be Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, whatever it is, if you don't have the thing that I call is the transactional email, like for example, if you have this local host on your computer and you try to test your application and send the email, and sometimes you can figure out how to do it in Gmail and it works, but other time it doesn't. But when you upload it to your live server, it doesn't work with Gmail all the time. And there are other services, other processes that you can use to make sure your emails hit the inbox. So if you are in the pod where you're like, man, I want to learn how I can send that email because my application requires that particular feature, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to create it for you. So all right, so let's go. So this is the contact page, and then we're gonna go down and check to see where the jQuery part goes. Yeah, jQuery being anytime. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. Let's just maximize this little bad boy here. So what that means is jQuery, anytime you click on any one of these buttons, whether it be this, it's gonna click a event called jQuery event. It's called on click. So we will go down over here. So anytime you click on this button where it says BTN, buttons being home, about, contact, and services. So if I refresh it, all of these buttons right here. All right, so anytime somebody clicks on this button, it's going to get the name of that particular screen. So let's take a look at this button, how in the navigation part it is. So if we go over here, BTN. All right, I just want to give you a quick reminder that I have this special gift that's going to help you, that you can get it at this URL. Don't forget to get it. And don't worry, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to make it easier. All right, now back to your video. Here it is. So anytime somebody clicks on home, it's going to get the attribute, which is this, and grab this particular name. And this is exactly what we are doing here. So it assigns this to the screen name, whatever that thing is, whether it be a home, about, contact, or services. And then based on what that name is, it will go and load up a particular screen. And each screen, so in this case, it will be a home. So if I go up here, as you can see, this says home, which has a class. So this particular container is going to get loaded. If it's services, then this particular container is going to get loaded. If it's about this container, you get the picture, right? So far, you with me? I hope you are, because this is pretty easy. So once you have this set up, so we have the name, and then what there's also going to do is whatever this particular name is going to add it to your URL in hash, and this is the code that it does. So if I go over here, so let's say I'll take this out just for now, and then I will click on about, and you will probably notice right over here it changes the URL to say, hey, this is your URL for about, right? If I click over here, contact, then it's going to change to contact, services, home, and home. And the reason why you want to do that is, let's say for example, I click on about, and the reason why you want to do that is because if you refresh your page at this point, you don't want to go to home, for example, but most of the applications will do. If, for example, you have this live server, right? You have this your url.com/pound hashtag and then /about. If you send that URL to somebody else, you want them to go to that about section, not to the home page. That would be ridiculous. Wouldn't you agree? So this is why we've built this functionality into our JavaScript, which would be, so this is all when someone clicks on the button, does all that this, and when someone refreshes it, this is the part. First of all, it's going to check to see if it has a hash. If it does have a hash, then it's going to go to the part where find out what is that particular screen name. So in this case, it's going to go look at this about, and once this finds it about, then it's going to load up that particular screen name and whatever the content of that is. So hopefully you're with me so far. This is fairly simple application and there's nothing complicated about it. But now from this point on, we're going to jump into a PHP environment where in our single page application right now, everything is in here is kind of okay to do it because it's like only 215 lines of code. So it's nothing complicated here. But if your single page application increase it gets bigger and you have so many different screens that within each screen it loads up another screen, so on and so forth, you wanted to organize that things. The way to do that is, and there's this particular one, what I will recommend is you have your regular index, which will be your main route, and then you separate your screens into HTML as well as in JavaScript. So let's take a look at this one over here, the index. So I'll walk you through it, what it is doing. That way you can use part of this code into your project to help you speed it up. So if you are familiar with PHP and you're like, I understand just the basics of it, this is going to help you out a lot. So this particular line of code is going to get you the URL of the folder, the main folder, or wherever you have this in here. So in this case, this will be your URL up to here. And that's all that particular line of code is going to do. And this one is going to save your life a lot. A lot of time will be saved by using this function. And you don't have to know what it is doing, but if you understand the regular expression, you can dice it and slice it any which way you want. But as it is, it works great. All right. So basically you use this function and you put in the text in here, it minifies it, and then it sends it back to you. So what the hell does that mean if you don't know what minifying is? It's going to take a big chunk of let me just show you real quick. So all of these, so let's say we have 59 lines of code or JavaScript. It's going to take all of those 59 lines of code, you're going to put it in here, it's going to spit it out into 1 or 2 or 3 lines. Saves you a lot of space on your source code. And then the same thing will here in your HTML, you can literally minify, take out all your comments, empty spaces, and double empty spaces and all that stuff. So it just kind of compresses your raw HTML. And then this particular function right over here, it's just like a regular load, which means that it's gonna go to, let's say if we want to, we could say, hey, go to this particular folder, which is your HTML, and find all the files that has extension of HTML and get the content of each of those files and put it on the page. So let's take a look at home. There's nothing special. Like I said before, I use the same exact code that was shown in the single page one. I just divided them into this sectional screen. So we have home, about, contact, service. This just helps you organize if your single page application grows with time, or if you add more stuff in here. I know when I built my NodePress blog, it was started with the same same mindset and same principle, and I just built it onto it. So each one of these things, HTML come here, and then I have my had my JavaScript in here, then I have my PHP, so on and so forth. So if you keep this thing organized, trust me, you will know exactly where to go to edit some things here. So for example, let's say we have this about page and we want to add something in here, right? And so we just come in here, add it, like, I don't know, put over here code, not up here, I'll just put it up top here. So I'll just put 1 and code with mark, and I'll save it. And I come back here, refresh it, go to about, and then here it is. And it just works so seamlessly. And also, one of the benefits of doing it this way, so let's say somehow someone gets access to this particular file, I don't know, they figure out a way how to do it and all that stuff. So if they open this up, it's going to look like this, very unformatted, and it's going to look ugly and would not make any sense to that particular function. That particular person. So think about it this way. So you have this container. Outside of this container, if you load that file, it's going to look ridiculous. But if we put it in the container within the framework, then it's only going to make sense. So hopefully that makes sense to you. All right, so let's move on. So same thing like with your JavaScript, your HTML, I did the same thing with your JavaScript. I just have one file. Obviously, if you have more processes for each screen, is different things. You can create all your files in here. Now, one thing I would recommend, like I did on my HTML, just organize it. It will save you so much time. I swear it will save you so much time. All right, so let's move on. So your JavaScript is literally the same exact one. Like I said, you can click on the link below to download this particular file. All right, so let's move on. So we have this one just goes to different folders and gets all the files. So how do we actually use that? So let's go down here. All right. And also, while we're here and this particular line of function, it will take all of your HTML and minify it. So right now it is on. If you don't want to use it, you will just take that off. And I will show you what it looks like now. So if I refresh this and go over here, remember before it was only 6 lines. Now it's gonna be a lot more lines. So it's 99 lines. So if I turn it back on, it's going to turn it back into your 6 line. It's literally this one line of code. That's it. So if I go back here and then bada bing, bada boom, it is done. Like, how cool is that? All right, so let's move on. So this is just your simple, your title, your mobile, so on and so forth. And then in here, your navigation. And then your page, nothing really changed. The only thing really changed in here, unlike before, the screens, we have all of our screen in here, but now we are calling this particular folder. Any file you put in here will automatically get loaded here. And same thing with JavaScript. Any file in here that has extension of JS is going to get loaded here. So that is, I feel, is the most organized, the most efficient way to do it. But if you feel like, hey, I missed something, let me know in the comment below. I'll be more than happy to capture it in the future video. And if you have any suggestion, leave it in the comment below. That way the community who watches the video can help. You can help that community to become a professional a web developer a lot faster. But if you love this video, make sure you click the subscribe button and also share it with somebody who can benefit from it. Until next time, guys, as I always say, Happy coding.